This has nothing to do with Australia. It has to do with Portugal, but if I try to affect a Portuguese accent, Pedro might try to rip my eyes out. We're throwing chairs at Brigador by Stellar Jockeys and Gausswerks. It's built on a custom C++ engine designed for people with 3 hands, and you can pick it up for around 20 of your local currency. It is priced slightly cheaper in the Eurozone because they need to, recover from that whole Brexit thing. And what is it? Brigador is an isometric mech action game full of intense tactical combat. Fight your way through the streets of Solo Nobre, one number, in a 21 mission story campaign, as well as a free played mode with endless varieties. The devs did send us some keys for this, so yes, good on them for that. And of course, the CHAIRQUISITION consists of the CHAIRQUISITION. 1 chair means that it's garbage. 2 chairs means that it's meh. 3 chairs means that's pretty good. 4 chairs means that's awesome. We also have our categories of doom to which we apply these chairs. Makes with the working, shiny sounds, controls, and fin. That's right, fin. So let's kick this off. Then, did Brigador make with the working?
Well, Brother Svang, it brigadid over here on the Ubuntu 1404. That's racist, man. LTS, because, yeah, we're still going to give it 16 business a couple more months. Running an 8150 octo-core, powered with a 980 displayed at UHD, but I just tested this one at 1080 because, why not? It ran, no issues, it launched, it gamed, it closed when I clicked close. The menu, well over 1,000 FERPs, pretty good on that. And while you're playing the game, trust me, this is not exactly a graphical juggernaut. So you could probably get away with playing this on an AMD card under Linux. So yeah, that's definitely a thing. I'm going to give it a solid 4 chairs out of the gate.
Oh yeah, play it on Wine using Wine 9 and Mason, the Mason driver. Might get some actual performance. Now on the Fedora 22 powered 64-bit i7 6700K with the GTX 980. It ran out of the box. I didn't even bother mucking with the resolution settings because everything was more or less playable at UHD. So I'm going to give that 4 chairs for mix with the working.
Yeah. And around here on Fedora 23 64-bit with the AMD FX 8370E overclocked at 4.2 gigahertz and a GTX 970 Strix, also with a teeny tiny bit of overclock because I figured out that it could actually handle like 200 megahertz on the GPU and about 1,000 megahertz on the memory bus. Not bad. Not bad at all. But yeah, it was getting like 2,000 frames per second on the menu, and it ran out of the box, no issues whatsoever. 4 chairs.
Well, it's better than that 30 FPS in the game. That's 4 chairs for Makes with the Working, and it's the last time you're going to see this score in the review. Up next is Shiny and Sounds. And
spoilers.
Shine.
Do you remember box art and like splash screens from the 90s? Yeah.
Vaguely.
Completely unrepresentative. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The ones that had those bitching splash screens, they started the game off and had absolutely no relation whatsoever with the actual game itself. I mean, you kind of get the general, not as bad as like Atari and like early Nintendo games where it was like, you look at the cover art, then you flip it over in the back and you're like, yeah, right. Use your imagination.
OG Mega Man box art, anyone?
Right. This is, that was a rough one too, Jordan. You didn't have to cut it that low. This is isometric. This looks like something from 96 with a color palette full of browns. That's about what you can expect from this. Not amazing. I mean, it's not fugly. I mean, it fills this weird space of
mediocrity,
hipster, isometric-ish, kind of unintentionally, non-ironically. I don't know. I mean, I'd really like to talk to the Devels. Like, what were you going for? I mean, because I have a hard time believing that they didn't plan on making it look exactly like it looks, and I don't think it was an accident. Sounds, it technically has sounds. I put it up, with my headsets, and I was like, yeah, that works, and hung them right back on the mic stand because I just really couldn't be arsed. It's brown, and it has sounds. It's not broken. So, 2 chairs.
At least the soundtrack doesn't consist of the brown note, but that's the control section. We'll get to that in a little bit. I mean, it actually doesn't look too bad. Honestly, it reminds me of like the original Command and Conquers, and those were okay looking games for the time. The soundtrack got, and I mean, like the explosions and the explosion sound effects are fairly satisfying when you end up blowing stuff up or crunching them. But other than that, the soundtrack got noped really quickly, and I just threw on some like Vader or some shit because I wanted to listen to some good music at the time. Altogether fairly unremarkable, but they work, so they get 2 chairs.
Yeah, the only bit of voice acting I heard was the garbly text-to-speech voice thingy they had going on. The camera, well, it's an isometric camera view and nothing else. Literally, you cannot zoom in, you cannot twirl it around, you can't do anything with it. That's the only perspective you get. It's slightly less pixely than what you'd expect from this grade a game, but it's still very much retro hipster. I am not impressed. 2 chairs.
All right, so that's 2 chairs for Shiny and the sounds. Up next is Control. Then tell me about their wonderful experience with this game.
This is amazing. This is brilliant. And no, I'm sorry. I don't have a goatee, so we're not in a parallel universe where the controls make fucking all sense. However, we are in this one. Anybody, I'm talking about people who've 1 decade minimum into PC gaming. Wazzat is, it doesn't matter if they're at work, when their left-hand organ lays on the keyboard, that's where the fingers land. I mean, it's subconscious. They're going to say 1 or 2 things when they start this game. The prominent one is, nope, fuck this, followed by, in second place, just, what?
What?
Yeah, what? Yeah. Because it's jacked. You have to move your torso in order to move forward, back, left, and right, and you're fixed with that isometric view. Now, you can have the camera follow you mode or the camera not follow you mode. Options fucking about. The controls are just miserable. They're fucking stupid. And one thing I don't like is the developer doubled down on, this is my vision and artistic integrity, and I'm not changing anything. I was like, well, Brad, a lot of people who bought your game have been telling you for a long time, the way this thing controls doesn't work. It might work with like behind the shoulders, first person. That might make sense. Aside from it, and no, it just doesn't work. And he's like, I'm not changing anything. And I'm like, well, in this case, maintaining your artistic integrity and how your game should be is not going to necessarily translate into sales and or a very good game. More on that in the fun section. But you can see there was like a little thing added because there's absolutely 100% a crotch-mounted turning light. That's what I call it. Because like right there, where your robo crotch would be, there's a light that points forward to give you some fuck all idea which way you're going, because if you have more than one person attacking you, you're just like, screw it, I'm dead, because you use your mouse to turn your upper torso. And it's not WASD. I mean, it is what? By default, A and D to slowly rotate your torso on top of that. Then you can use W forward and back. It's just a hot mess. And it's broken and it's not going to get fixed. 1 chair.
Oh, yeah. No, this thing literally controls like a butt. And, like, so, I mean, I get what they were trying to do, right? Because you have, like, the top part of the tank that you can, like, pivot, and then you have the direction that you're steering, and then you can aim, sort of, kind of. Except, what's the point of that? Why can't you strafe? Why can't you just automatically, when I hit A, turn to the right and go? And there's this weird fucking dissonance with the direction that you're pointing and the direction that you actually move, which is really annoying until you actually get to the A-grab segments, in which case they actually control semi-sanely, which is even more horseshit because they were capable of having a sane control scheme, and they said, you know what, we're gonna have like maybe a quarter of the game use that, and the rest of it, just fuck it. Oh my god, it's miserable. Plus, if you try to play this game with a controller, you will not have a controller anymore because you will have smashed it into pieces after about 5 seconds, after your hands just completely and outright rejected the control scheme. I mean, maybe it makes sense if you have 3 hands, but this is miserable. I would not recommend this 1 chair.
Yeah, for all my usual spiels about mechanics being the most important bit of a video game, mechanics are only as good as the way the player interfaces with them. And that interfacing relies almost exclusively, there are a couple of exceptions, but almost exclusively on how a game controls. That's your mouse and keyboards, your game controllers, like, I don't know, Steam controller right here. And I banged the mic arm. And so on and so forth. In this game, the controls are completely batty nuggets. I really have no other expression for them. Who did they have on as testers or QA that didn't flip them off the moment they sat down with this control scheme? If I want to make the mech warrior style mechs at least manageable, I have to keep holding the E key to, you know, so they will keep aiming at where my mouse cursor is. Why wasn't this a toggle? When you know how toggle works. When you have it enabled, it would steer with the mouse, you know, relatively speaking, like any sane game of this genre would. And when you had it disabled, it would, you know, do the double orientation thing that it does by default, which is completely asinine. Having the latter as default is not, and not giving anyone the option to switch in most mechs is, it's asinine. That's what it is. I played an hour of this game and I couldn't physically force myself to play anymore because of the controls. But more on that later. I can't give it one chair since it, at least with the mistress, aka the Areola controller, if I set it to keyboard and mouse emulation mode, I can technically use it. Not that I would. But yeah, I can't really give it one chair, so 2 chairs.
Yeah, no, that's 1 chair for control. One other thing that's really annoying too is you have to like move your mouse over the thing you're trying to target and not just in the general direction, because bullets have this nasty tendency of not firing in straight lines.
Yeah, no, it's drop off. It's got bullet drop off, and it's controlled by just how far your cursor is. It's annoying.
And again, if you make the rapid mouse movements, I find my mouse on the other side of one of the other monitors, in which case I lose focus on the game and I get murdered to death. But that's enough of that. 1 chair for controls. Finally, fun. Ben, did you at least have fun with this game?
Well, what I'm about to say, you need to take with a grain of chainsaw, because after I put 53 minutes maybe into it, and that's really all we can do with this. It's not a lazy game. See, that was me doing mental gymnastics, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of work went into it. I mean, it's not sloppy. The level design is there. The models are there for what they are. I mean, it has a coherent art style. And, you know, it's definitely structured. I mean, with your ammo pickups but at the end of the day, what it genuinely is an isometric WASD shooter. I mean, disguised as a mech game. The only thing mech about this game is an attempt at mech controls from somebody who heard a rumor about one time and figured out, you know, oh, this is how they should work. I mean, they just don't. That's not how it should. It's horrible. And it just destroys the entire thing, especially at the price on Brad. You're thinking a lot of it. That's why a lot of people have not picked this up. And a lot of people that are leaving the positive reviews, just go read them. I'm not saying they're fake, but I think a lot more of those should say receive product for free versus when you read the negative reviews, which I like to call truthful ones. That's definitely a thing. I wish I had more to report. Then again, if you're like me, you look at this could have been really fun if it was something like Heavy Gear 2, Loki game. You know, maybe if I could slide around, if I could strafe a little bit and I had better control of this mech, that, I mean, there's loadouts and stuff like that, but it was like, what's the fucking point? I'm just going to get killed to death anytime things get remotely intense, because controlling this thing, even with your crotch-mounted fleshlight, it still hit a miss, man. I did not have fun. No joy was had. And it's been a long time since I've struggled to put an hour into a game. But here we are. 1 chair.
Oh yeah, and like Ben said, honestly, I'd be tempted to give this game even like 2 or maybe even 3 chairs for this category if the controls didn't suck so much ass.
Oh yeah,
I mean, seriously, controls are one of the few parts of the game that you at least have to get passively right, and you didn't, Brad. You had a neat concept. You had some cool rampage-style gameplay where the whole point of the game is to blow shit up. You actually get money for like murdering civilians and just running around and exploding buildings.
Stompy McStomp pads. That's kind of
exactly. You know, it says it right in the tutorial: stomp and destroy shit. That is the one way you should progress. Except, the controls are just outright miserable, and it kills any sort of enjoyment you might have had with the game, because I mean it's not lazy. The levels are clearly designed. I ran into a bug twice in one of the tutorials where I cleared the objective and it wouldn't let me progress, and on the third try it finally let me through. I mean, the mech loadouts are fairly limited. You only have so many types of weapons, and really the different mechs determine basically how much health you have, and that's about it. I mean, you could have had a good game here, but you didn't. Nice try, guys. No cigar, one chair.
Sit down, kids.
And remember,
Pedro's
this
gaming
is a
history
summary,
lesson
not
is
reading
on.
an article.
Yeah, so
If you want to read the article, check the show notes.
Back in 1998, the best, in my opinion, the best year in video gaming history, there was a game called Future Cop LAPD. It came out and it was awesome. Admittedly, I was only 12 at the time, so I may have a pretty thick pair of nostalgia glasses going for it. But when I saw Brigador come out on Steam, I thought, hey, hipster pixel LAPD Future Cop, I want some of that. So I, shot Stellar Jockeys an email asking them for keys, and the moment I got them, I went in all hyped up, and 10 minutes later, I had closed the game. Let me transcribe my thought process at the time. Oh, it's a fixed isometric camera. Huh. Wait, why am I moving left when I press forward? Wait, is this how it's supposed to work? Did I miss a toggle to set the movement relative to the mouse? No, it's just stupid by design. Okay. Well, I can't be the only one that thinks that this is stupid. Let me just check the Steam forums. Oh, the devs are actually attempting to justify this decision. Huh. How skewed a vision do you have to think that this is not only a decent control scheme for a game, but to actively defend it when people start complaining about it? A game lives or dies. This is, again, my opinion. A game lives or dies based on its mechanics. But I can't even get a grasp on the mechanics that you have in play when I'm actively fighting everything like 3 whole fucking decades of playing video games. I'm actively fighting that in my brain the whole time, just on the controls. That's video gaming 101, and you fucked up. It just feels wrong to play this game. And wrong, well, you're looking at one chair.
All right, so that's one chair for fun. I've been taken back to 1998. I'm so hipster. Do you guys remember Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? That was the shit. But yes, that's one chair for fun. And if we tally that up, we get 2 chairs for Brigador. So, gentlemen, final thoughts.
Not sure if want. Run, don't sprint away from this game in the opposite direction, because it is definitely not that. And just unfuck your controls, man. I mean, don't double down on stupid. I mean, yeah, all right, you made a game. This is how you think it should control. You're wrong. It shouldn't, and it fucks all the work you've done. Good work, good level design. Interesting concept for a game. Fucking worthless because you have doubled down on this is fucked up. I mean, it was almost in chorus when we got the keys and we all tried it, and we were messaging back and forwards, like just randomly to each other. It's like, fuck controls, and it's like, yep, fuck controls, yep, fuck controls. That shouldn't be the first thing out of your damn mouth when they launch your game.
Yeah, I was so hyped when I saw the trailer and the screenshots on the Steam store page that I felt deceived when I sat down and played it. I don't think I've ever felt deceit from a video game based solely on a poor control scheme. Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean the controls on this game would have made sense if this was like an over-the-shoulder first-person game, like an actual proper tank game. Instead, we get tank controls over an isometric view, which is just don't do it, man. It's been talked to death, so I'm just gonna close this off.